On the next One Detroit.
There's definitely a pot of gold at the end of this rainbow.
Teaching the next generation skilled trades and a closer look at intensive programs at Randolph Technical Center. Plus,
it's affecting people.
A sit-down with Jeffrey Seller, producer of the Broadway smash Hamilton. He talks about the impact of the Founding Fathers' story and his investment in the Detroit arts. And I catch up with Nolan Finley and Stephen Henderson for a look at the week's headlines. So grab a Coney with us at Red Hot's Coney Island in Highland Park. I'm Christy McDonald. One Detroit is coming up.
Masco Corporation is proud to manufacture innovative and environmentally friendly products for the home. Delta faucets, craft-made in Merillat cabinets, and Behr brand paints have all been designed with you in mind. Masco and its family of companies, serving Michigan communities since 1929.
Support also provided by the W.K. Kellogg Foundation, a partner with communities where children come first. The Cynthia and Etzel Ford Fund for Journalism at Detroit Public TV. The John S. and James L. Knight Foundation, the Detroit Journalism Engagement Fund, and by...
I have a question. Who wants to go first? To win? Who wants to grow our business? Who wants to make more money? Who wants more job opportunities? If you want Michigan to compete and become a top 10 state, raise your hand. Together, we've turned Michigan around and started moving forward. Now help us build a stronger Michigan than ever. Raise your hand at strongermichigan.com.
How does diversity bring energy to us all? At DTE Energy, we believe that it's the contributions of all that build great communities. As a company, we grow stronger by welcoming the unique perspectives of everyone. As community members, we support our state's broad culture and heritage. From working closely with women and minority-owned suppliers to embracing our local cultures, DTE Energy is powering diversity. The DTE Energy Foundation is a proud sponsor of Detroit Public Television.
For nearly 100 years, Ally has been a part of Detroit, and we give back by volunteering and donating in our community. We have a commitment to diversity and increasing economic mobility in our hometown. At Ally, we're dedicated to doing it right every single day.
And viewers like you. Thank you.
How long has Red Hot's Coney Island in Highland Park been open, Richard?
We've been in the same spot, and we've been open since 1921. My great uncle came here in about 1914, and after about 4 years, he went back to Greece, got his wife, and they opened the Coney Island, which was called the hot dog place. The only thing I cannot tell you is the chili recipe that we use is the same recipe that we have been using since 1921. We still make it in-house. The actual recipe, I wish I knew. It still puzzles me to this day.
About where it came from, but do you have it written down somewhere?
Well, now my daughter...
No, the answer to that was no. It was always in his head for many, many years. Nobody else knew how to make the chili recipe.
How would you guys describe Detroiters' love affair with Coney's?
It's crazy.
Oh, it is crazy, you know, because they will come in and there's a lot of people that naturally don't know about us. And so one of their friends might bring them in here and say, okay, I'm a diehard fan of whoever. And
once I get them in
once
here,
they're
I
here,
got
once they're here,
you got me for sure.
I got
we love being in Highland Park. Highland Park is a really great community. We have up to, what, 4 generations of families come in, people since the 40s.
Highland Park had over 60,000 people in its heyday.
Yeah.
The people still come back.
Yeah.
They're kids and stuff. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, generations
But
and generations
I had a
of
guy
people.
here the other day, 97 years old, from World War II, we were talking.
And yeah, so that's
Well,
awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for
Thank
this.
you.
Thank you,
We'll be
Christine.
back for sure.
Absolutely, anytime.
All right, now that we have Coney's and coffee, hi, I'm Christy McDonald. Let's get you up to speed on what we have coming up on One Detroit this week. We'll take you inside Randolph Tech for a closer look at the teachers bringing skilled trades to the next generation, plus what programs are making an impact. Then we will catch up with Nolan Finley from the Detroit News and Stephen Henderson from WDET Radio and take on the week's headlines, including where we are in the road funding debate. And then we'll finish up with a conversation with Jeffrey Seller, the producer of the Broadway hit Hamilton. He'll share his love for supporting the arts here in Detroit. It is all coming up for you on the show. All right, but let's get started with a closer look at the skilled trades training programs at Randolph Career Technical Center in Detroit. More Detroit companies that are building in the city are looking to hire Detroit talent. There are jobs to be had if people can commit to the training. And the teachers at Randolph are helping the next generation of trade workers find their skills. Will Glover has the story.
I am a journeyman and type wireman. I have been in for over 20 years.
Felicia Wiseman has stories to tell. She's an electrician by trade and an instructor at Randolph Career Technical Center in Detroit.
What about you? You finished your paperwork? I love being out there in the field. You know, I go toe to toe with any of those guys anytime, any day. But I said, I need to be in a position where I can help more people get into here, help more younger people realize how this is done, get more females into the trade, and this just kind of fell in my lap.
Numbers are hard to come by. In the Detroit area construction trades, perhaps 1 in 10 workers is a person of color. And women of color? A number so much smaller than that, in what looks like a wide open, well-compensated field.
Once we start showing them that, it's like, oh, I can make that much money? Oh yeah, but they're not gonna pay you that money to sit there on your cell phone, you know, looking cute. So you gotta come there, you gotta work. There's definitely a pot of gold at the end of this rainbow.
2 young women in attendance this semester, led by 2 female electricians. Wiseman and her teaching partner Monique Newell run the 2-year program, preparing students for apprenticeships with the Electricians Union.
There is still the idea that you got to go to college to be successful. And so I find myself making sure that I put certain individuals in front of my kids, people that look like them, because then I know that my students can picture themselves like them in a few years.
10th grader Samaya Cook's been getting all A's. She's thinking hard about a career in the trades.
I've been considering a lot. I'm kind of all over the place with that, but yeah, I've been considering this as well. Like, I want to be a lawyer for a few minutes there, but yeah, I'm still trying to figure it out.
Detroit's public schools have had a tough go in recent years. School closings, population loss, sinking test scores. Wiseman and Newell have to compensate for some students less prepared coming into the program.
Well, for this and for really any of the trades, the kids, they need to be serious about their math classes. I-57.
The game? Math Bingo, intended to sharpen skills that matter if you're an electrician.
You have to calculate like what type of wire you need or for like to hold the electricity. I would do math games like that and math every day to kind of brush up on that if you need help.
You're on a job site. Your phone's dead. You don't have a calculator. How are you going to get your measurements? Okay.
We're on Detroit's east side with another student, 43-year-old Kanan Pinkard.
This is something amazing. I've seen the opportunity of going from having a job to having a career. The difference of having just a regular 9-to-5 and having a skill.
Pinkard used to be an auto parts inspector. He earned $12 an hour. Now he's at Flexengate, another auto parts plant, but as an apprentice electrician with a significant pay jump and the promise of a middle-class income when he moves up to journeyman.
So I'm a very proud product of the DPS. And at no point did I know anything about being in the trades. That was something that wasn't mentioned to me. As a matter of fact, it was kind of looked down upon, like if you had a college degree, you were better than someone. But what I've found is that it's completely the opposite. I've seen some of the most intelligent people I've met that's in the trades.
A construction boom means more people of color needed to fill the ranks. Some of Detroit's major projects are obligated to hire more city residents. Developers are looking to the Randolph Career Center for help.
My mother and my father, they actually encouraged me to get into the field.
Rainin Booker plans to be an electrician. Lab partner Anthony Ford is seriously considering it.
The trades are better than college because, you know, I don't want to have like a business job, you know, like sitting down at the table. I want to be more hands-on, like, and being able to help somebody out. Like when somebody electricity go out, you know, you can go and fix it, and then that's you're the solution for their problem.
When you go to college, you're taking out, you know, multiple loans, and then by the time you finish college, you know, you're gonna be in debt. You're gonna have to pay that money back. You know, you go in a trade, you know, you can go out in the field while you learning in classes.
Every day 20 people retire from like the trades, and that's 20 spots that they need jobs because only like one person goes to fill that. There's a lot of space for like us to come up and kind of work there.
So this opportunity that these children have here in Detroit is totally unique because there's nowhere in the country. You don't get this kind of knowledge base till you go to the community colleges, to the union hall, to an apprenticeship.
Beyond the basics, there's still room for theory and experimentation.
And at the end, we're going to shoot a signal all the way to the other end of the building on a Wi-Fi link.
Except for the bowling ball, this class project has parts common on a construction site.
Take these pieces of framing channel, and they're going to go across this way.
Visiting instructor Tom Bowes designed this to show how different voltages and the internet combine in modern electrical installation.
So the limit switch is going to sit down in here.
I don't know, it's different. I would never thought it was something that has to do with electrical, because like we working on like, wiring and stuff like that,
It would not be unusual in a building these days for every one of these light fixtures to have an address, right? And we'd say, I want to turn on that fixture and that fixture only, and I could do it with a wired system, I could do it with a wireless system.
Fiancée Foster isn't sure about her career, but now she knows what it takes to do this job.
You have to be like precise with everything, no errors, and you have to be quick about it.
There's definitely not enough women in here. And I'm always reaching out to females. And you get the same thing. Oh, it's a dirty job. Oh, it's too hard. Oh, I can't do it. I'm like, yeah, you're dirty. Yeah, it's a hard job. But you know what? You got enough money that every weekend you can get your hair did, you can get your nails did, you can go to the spa, you can do whatever you want to.
It's not yet clear if the numbers are rising for African American men and women in the trades, but they're up in Kanan Pinkert's family. He's recruited his brother Mandela Kali to join him in the electricians program.
I don't see as many as I would like to see when I see people like me when I go on a job site, but I think those numbers will increase because we need them to.
Yeah, there's a lot going on this week. So let's bring in Stephen Henderson of WDET Radio and Nolan Finley of the Detroit News for some perspective on the headlines this week. Hey guys, how are you?
Good, how are you?
I think we should do a show at the Coney all the time.
We're going to have lunch here, that's for sure.
I'm having lunch here.
Exactly.
I'm checking out the menu now. I am getting the Milton Special.
Oh, you are?
Do you hear the sizzling? I don't know what that is. Going on?
Yeah. I don't know what the Milton Special is, but I got to have it.
Hey, so I wanted to check in with you guys about, it seems to have been a little quiet on the front for all the money for the roads and where Governor Whitmer's proposed plan is. And I know that the Detroit News Ed Board just met with her, Nolan.
Monday of this week.
Yeah.
So, and I didn't sense much movement. I mean, she said she had not had a chance yet to sit down with the legislative leaders in any serious way to negotiate this and to bargain this out. But there does seem to be some things out there milling about. Including she had been hearing that the Republicans may propose to her, and she brought this up, a expansion of the sales tax to services to pay for roads. Now, we've tried that in the state before, and it went down. Nobody really wanted to expand the sales tax to services. She doesn't prefer that because she wants to keep road funding clean, a user tax that supports the roads. The business community is also out there pushing, tie-barring this to insurance, auto insurance reform. So you reform no fault, and the idea is if you save people $1,000 a year on their insurance policies, they'll be more amenable to a gas tax increase. I don't know if that's true or not, but she wasn't certain where she stood on no-fault insurance reform. Remember, her backers, Blue Cross Blue Shield and other insurance companies, have been opposing a lot of the no-fault reform. So, she's in that pull. But I don't see any real progress yet, but they're coming up against the budget deadline.
And that's what I was going to say. So what's the timing on this, Stephen, and when will we start to see? Is this a mid-May kind of thing?
Well, the Senate now says it won't have its plan ready until the summer, which I'm not sure if that's just posturing as a way to try to put some more pressure on her for that deadline. That deadline is somewhat artificial, right? I mean, the real deadline is not till the fall, but Governor Snyder was really proud of the fact that he always got it done pretty early, and I think Whitmer will be trying to match that.
She said she wanted to keep that tradition because
You don't want that brinksmanship at the
That's
end.
right.
You know, we're going to shut it down.
Yeah, I mean, and then they go on for break in the summertime, and all of a sudden you come back in September and the clock starts running.
And you're really up
Said
too close to
she
it.
is demanding, asking that they stay in session.
until the budget's done, that
Well,
they don't leave in the summer.
And
they
should.
should.
The bigger problem here, though, is that we are still talking about this in these kind of silos where we're like, well, let's figure out how to fund the roads, or let's add this service sales tax, which is an issue that's been around for a long time.
Yeah.
It's something we probably should have done a long time ago, and we wouldn't be in so much trouble financially with some other things. We've got to overhaul the entire tax system here. We don't collect off of the right things. We don't collect enough off of the things that we do collect. And that's why government is failing, not just in the roads, but also in the schools, also in infrastructure elsewhere. You've got all of these environmental problems that have now started to crop up that are going to cost a lot of money to fix. We've got to start talking about where you get the money consistently to fund government at the level that it can actually be effective.
But that's not coming this year. And first, we've got to make government efficient and effective. She still has to sell this 45-cent plan. You can't go to a legislature that's facing re-election next year, and Democrats will be making a huge push to get these Republicans out of office, and ask these same Republicans to take that kind of risk on supporting a 45-cent gas hike when the public doesn't support it yet. You got to get the electorate behind it.
Well, we don't know that the public doesn't support it.
Well, we've not
people
seen
are
any
saying
evidence
that
they do.
People are saying that, but I think until you see something that says they don't support it, you roll with the idea that there's not a better idea on the table. If Republicans have a better way to come up with $2 billion a year, God bless, put it out there, and don't wait till summer to do it. Frankly, that's a
I
maneuver
think you're going to
that,
see that counter proposal, and it may be an expansion of the sales tax to services. That's what we're hearing now.
That's a pretty big concession also for Republicans,
It
because they
is.
were very bitterly opposed to that
is.
when Granholm was proposing it.
But it's less noticeable for consumers than pulling up and seeing a 45-cent hike on that marquee at the gas station.
Before we jump to another topic, real quick, you also talked to her about Line 5.
Line 5, yeah, I mean, she campaigned on shutting it down. She seems to be coming to the recognition now that she can't shut it down because the Upper Peninsula depends on the products that moves through the line. And the tunnel is a good solution. I sense that her issue with the tunnel is that it was negotiated by Rick Snyder, and just before he left office, and it sort of took that decision away from her. Not so much the tunnel itself and the timetable. She wants a shorter timetable. I predict you're going to see a tunnel, and you're going to see that Enbridge will pay for it. It's a huge infrastructure project for the UP, a lot of jobs. It would be hard to walk away from. And I predict you're going to see a shorter timetable.
As long as there's the protections and the inspections of the line,
what
which
Snyder
is what's
negotiated.
right.
Snyder was wrong to snatch that off her plate before he left office. I mean, that was a really childish move. She's the governor who's going to have to manage this going forward, so she should get to make the decision, which is a big one, about how we do this. I'm not convinced that the tunnel is the best option. It is a quote-unquote safer option, but it is not the safest option, which is to stop pumping gas and oil through that line. And
how do
there's
you
a lot
get
of
it
people.
between the peninsulas?
Well, that's another question, and
Well,
you
it's
can
a
answer
huge
that.
question.
It is, but you can answer that question. And once you decide we're not going to take the risk of an oil spill in the Great Lakes, then you have to choose from among the other options. And none of them is ideal, but none of them is quite as dangerous as
I
that.
don't know. I think putting them on tankers, putting them on rail
There's
cars,
nothing that
putting
would
them
compare
trucks,
to a
that's
spill in
dangerous.
the lakes. There was nothing that would compare to a spill
Well,
in the
those
lakes.
could spill in the lakes.
Well, they can't spill in the lakes
They spill in
the way
waterways
that a
lead to
pipeline
lakes.
does.
I mean, the pipeline has been safe for 60 years. And
has
you're
been lucky
taking a
for
bet
60
that you can get another 7 to 10 years out of it, put that thing in a tunnel, and now you've solved your problem.
A loss to the world of journalism here in
Mm-hmm.
Detroit. Jonathan Woolman passed away, who's the editor and the publisher of the
Detroit News for 12 years. A guy with a very, very distinguished journalism career. He started here in Detroit. Actually started in his hometown of Madison, Wisconsin, but came to Detroit as a young man, as an AP reporter in the 70s, rose to the top of AP. He was the managing director of the AP for a number of years, then went to Denver and came to Detroit as publisher 12 years ago, and really embraced this city, embraced the Detroit News. He loved the paper, loved the town, And you know, he leaves a big void in our staff
A lot
at
of
the news.
reporters,
He's very,
yeah.
very respected in the news.
Talking about where he set the bar for them.
Yeah.
So,
Well, one thing to say about him, he wasn't, you know, in terms of today, it's all about clicks and chasing which stories are going to get the most views. I never heard those words come out of his mouth. He was about getting the right stories in the paper and the
pretty old
stories.
school that way, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're not going to see another one.
Yeah. All right. Well, our thoughts are with his family
Thank you.
right now. All right, guys, it's good to see you. You know, and finally, the musical Hamilton's run in Detroit is coming to an end. It has been a thrill for theater fans to see one of the most transformative shows from Broadway during its stay at the Fisher. Well, one of the producers, Jeffrey Seller, is from Metro Detroit. And he sat down with Bridge Magazine's Chastity Pratt for a conversation on how this art form has affected the way people take in U.S. history, plus Jeffrey's support of the arts here in Detroit.
Jeffrey Seller, welcome home.
Thank you. I love being here.
You have this show with a diverse cast, people of color. Talk a little bit about how that affects the audience, how that affects the artistry, our understanding of history.
Hamilton is so organically correct in that it was always obvious to us that George Washington would be played by an African-American man, that Thomas Jefferson would be a man of color. What is so satisfying to me is that we have created a show that is about America yesterday told by America today, because that enables every audience member, white, black, brown, whatever, to look up on that stage and say, that's my story too.
How lucky we are to be alive right now. History is happening in
It's interesting that you would bring Hamilton here right now, because at the African American History Museum right now, there's the Paradox of Liberty exhibit, and it's been problematic because it deals with Jefferson. Are we dealing with history in a different way by bringing in these, you know, these characters of color? Are we just making it more accessible?
I think that Hamilton is absolutely exploring the possibility of what America can be, while it's simultaneously showing us in theatrical, ironic terms what it was not. So we have a black man playing Thomas Jefferson, who was a slave, holder. The fact that he wasn't black is less interesting to me than the fact that we have a black man playing him and he was a slaveholder. And that is powerful. And that is complicated.
It's complicated.
And that may create cognitive dissonance for white audience members who don't think he should be played by a black man, and for black audiences who say, how could a black man portray that slaveholder? And I think that we are in a moment where we are thinking about the sins of our past, the sins of slavery. The conversation about reparations is starting to enter our dialogue. And to the degree that Hamilton is part of that dialogue, I am happy. Hamilton can't tell every story. It can't explore every issue, and it touches on it, but it doesn't do a deep dive in it. And now the question is, what vehicles can we use to take that deep dive into America's sin?
It's a complicated cognitive experience, right? And kids love it because of the music.
Yeah.
Let's talk about kids. What kind of effect are you looking for with your younger audience?
Well, kids love it because of the music.
Yes.
Kids love it because of the dancing. Kids love it, and kids of color love it because they feel like, okay, I'm part of the story too. That's me up there. I am part of the American story. And I think that's very, very valuable.
On the topic of kids, we can't let you get out of here without talking about that huge donation to Mosaic, a program that serves children, mostly African-American children of color.
Yes.
$1 million, the biggest donation to a nonprofit like this we've seen. Why'd you do it? Why this organization?
I know from my own experience the power of theater to transform a life. The work that Mosaic is doing with these kids it's like saving the world.
Well, that's going to do it for One Detroit. We had a great time with the folks here at Red Hot's Coney Island and Highland Park. Thanks so much for having us. And catch up with us at DetroitPBS.org for all the stories that we're working on. I'm Christy McDonald. We'll see you next week for One Detroit. All right, so I think I'm ready for my Conies now. Now that my work is done, right?
Masco Corporation is proud to manufacture innovative and environmentally friendly products for the home. Delta faucets, craft-made in Merillat cabinets, and Behr brand paints have all been designed with you in mind. Masco and its family of companies, serving Michigan communities since 1929.
Support also provided by the W.K. Kellogg Foundation, a partner with communities where children come first. The Cynthia and Etzel Ford Fund for Journalism at Detroit Public TV. The John S. and James L. Knight Foundation, the Detroit Journalism Engagement Fund, and by...
I have a question. Who wants to go first? To win? Who wants to grow our business? Who wants to make more money? Who wants more job opportunities? If you want Michigan to compete and become a top 10 state, raise your hand. Together, we've turned Michigan around and started moving forward. Now help us build a stronger Michigan than ever. Raise your hand at strongermichigan.com.
How does diversity bring energy to us all? At DTE Energy, we believe that it's the contributions of all that build great communities. As a company, we grow stronger by welcoming the unique perspectives of everyone. As community members, we support our state's broad culture and heritage. From working closely with women and minority-owned suppliers to embracing our local cultures, DTE Energy is powering diversity. The DTE Energy Foundation is a proud sponsor of Detroit Public Television.
For nearly 100 years, Ally has been a part of Detroit, and we give back by volunteering and donating in our community. We have a commitment to diversity and increasing economic mobility in our hometown. At Ally, we're dedicated to doing it right every single day.
And viewers like you. Thank you.